What if the way you teach and care for young children could change the world? Welcome to Reimagine Childhood, brought to you by the Early Childhood Christian Network, helping you grow as an educator, leader, and follower of Jesus. Early childhood is a sacred season where hearts are shaped, faith begins to grow, and lifelong learning takes root. We believe teaching young children is more than a job, it's a calling. That's why each episode is filled with practical strategies, real stories, and faith-based encouragement to help you create joyful, meaningful learning experiences in your classroom and beyond. Let's reimagine what's possible in early childhood together. I'm your host, Monica Healer, and I'm so glad you're here. Many of us are in a regular state of tired, exhausted, and overwhelmed. Today's episode is a really practical conversation with Faith Rivera about combating burnout. Faith is the founder and principal consultant of Allos Consulting, where she helps mission-driven leaders strengthen their systems, secure impactful funding, and design programs that truly move communities forward. With a background spanning grant writing, strategic planning, program development, and nonprofit leadership, she brings both depth of expertise and a collaborative, down-to-earth approach. She's an entrepreneur who is deeply community-centered. She wants our communities to thrive. She's experienced burnout herself and is passionate about helping all of us recognize the signs leading up to it. Let's get started. Faith, welcome to the podcast again.
Yes, thank you so much, Monica. It's always a joy to be with you.
I'm so glad to have you back. Today, listen, we've got a topic today I think so important in this early childhood world. And we are going to talk about burnout. Not just early educators, but specifically early educators are hitting that burnout point sooner than maybe we would think. A lot of times we look at this early childhood world, that's not stressful. That's pretty easy. All you do is take care of kids all day, right? That's not hard.
Yeah.
And yet, burnout seems to be on the rise. So let's start by defining burnout. How's burnout different from overwhelm or discouragement? And define that for us.
Awesome. Thank you. I think that's a great question to start off with. First and foremost, what causes burnout is stress. People then normally will roll their eyes and say to me, Faith, my life's not going to get any less stressful. And I'm like, okay, that's fair. We all have so many responsibilities. And I think we as women are a lot more prone to burnout. The last statistic I saw is women are 2 to 3 times more likely than men to experience burnout because of the different hats we wear, the roles that we have. And a lot of us have some level of caretaker responsibilities, whether you're a parent, a wife, you're taking care of your parents, you're taking care of kids within your classroom. There's a lot of emotional responsibility that comes into play. And so over time, burnout happens from stress that is not resolved. It's a depletion over time. It's not just you wake up one day and you're burnt out.
Yeah.
Sometimes it feels like that you're like, oh my gosh, I just became burned out from nowhere. And that's not really true. I like to talk about burnout in like a trickle down effect. So first, it starts with stress. We all have stress that happens within our lives, and stress starts affecting us emotionally. And oftentimes this may come out of you're a little short with the kids in your classroom, or your spouse, or your own children, or maybe your best friend. You respond in a way that is not like you. Maybe you're shorter, more angry, having more volatile reactions than you normally do. Sometimes we're told, you're just being a woman, you're just being emotional.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it really hormonal, or is it stress deeply impacting you? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you drinking enough water? Are you taking care of your body? Those things on top of stress can cause depletion at a quicker rate. Then if you're not listening to your body and your emotions, it's going to get a little bit more severe. So it goes from emotional repercussions to then physical repercussions. Think about those times where you're burning the candle at both ends and your body is so exhausted and you think you're getting sick. That is our body's way of saying, hey, sis, pump the brakes. Like, we're getting a little bit out of control here. And that is a big choice for you of, okay, am I going to listen to my body and take a beat? Or am I going to keep pushing through and actually get to burnout? So it's these stages of emotional, then physical, then mental health really being impacted, like depression, anxiety, woe is me, doom to the world. And if you still don't listen, that's often where our resources are completely depleted, and burnout can actually send you to the hospital like it did me twice before the age of 25. So burnout prevention is a huge part of my story because I've actually experienced it.
Yeah.
And I think so many of us that are in caretaker roles or work from our heart and from our passion
Yeah.
forget that we can't pour from an empty cup. And so that's what burnout is: depletion over time, pouring from an empty cup where your mind, body, soul, and spirit literally have nothing left.
Wow. That sounds terrible.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so you touched on this a little bit, but let's just talk really practically. Like, how can you tell if you're on the road to burnout? What are some of the warning signs that we really should pay attention to?
Yeah, like I mentioned in the last answer, I think it's that
Yeah.
sequence, right? Is first checking your emotions. I always say this not to be rude, but I think like a lot of people are like, oh, you're just being a woman, you're emotional.
Yeah.
But take a second if someone responds to you that way, or you notice yourself being a little bit more short.
Yeah.
Ask yourself, is this just a hormonal thing? Has it been a
Yeah.
stressful week? Or is this a pattern? So looking at patterns, not
Mm.
just one off experiences.
Yeah.
And then over time, if you're not listening to those emotional cues, check your physical cues. Are you more anxious than normal? Are you getting that pit in your stomach? Do you feel tension in your back, shoulders, head? I notice for myself, my migraines are normally triggers that I am not dealing with stress well, because I get my migraines in the back of my head. They spread down my neck and my shoulders,
Wow.
and I can sense that tension build up from here up. So check yourself throughout the day. Are you carrying your stress, your tension in your body? And if so, give yourself just like 30 seconds to release, because that reset
Mm.
actually helps resolve some of the cortisol that is flooding through your body, that
Yeah.
causes illness, that causes stress, that causes inflammation. And that's what people think of with burnout is I'm
Yeah.
constantly sick or depleted. Part of that is from cortisol. And
Wow.
then making sure that you're keeping your healthy habits that we all know we need to do in place. Just because you're busy or stressed does not mean that your water intake should go out the window, your sleep should go out the window, you should be eating nothing but fast food all day. Those are the times that our body needs us to care the most.
I think for a lot of us, these are the things that tend to go by the wayside, like water depletion, things like that. I don't think we take it seriously enough
Yeah,
how taking care of our physical body actually affects our mental health,
yes.
our full well-being, is those really simple things like
Yep.
water. And yeah, in early childhood, potty breaks are hard to come by, but also don't limit your water intake. It's remarkable what a difference that can make. A few minutes in sunlight, like really small things.
Yep.
Y'all hear us say burnout is a real thing, but it is preventable.
Correct.
Like, it is so preventable. Why do you think it's such a badge of honor? I almost think as women and as caretakers, especially as these helpers, we almost carry it like a badge of honor, like being overwhelmed, being stressed, being overscheduled. It becomes like this mantle that we just wear almost with pride rather than trying to deal with it in a more healthy way. Talk to me about that a little bit.
It's so funny you say that, because burnout is not a badge of honor. I have trainings that are tagged that, and I'm writing a book that will be called something similar that will be
Yeah.
released in 2026. But I think part of it, the reason why, is because we are taught as women that our main goal and priority is to take care of other people. I don't think that's biblically accurate either. Yes, we have caretaker roles, but nowhere in the Bible does it say that we should be operating at zero. I think that is a lie of the devil, personally. I think we are kept from our own potential when we're operating at zero. So I think part of it is societal. Part of it is our own lack of care for ourselves and lack of self-worth. Because if we take care of ourselves, that is a place of showing that our needs are just as important, if not more important, than some of the people around us. And that is really hard when you have a role like a wife, a caretaker, a parent, because you're
Yeah.
supposed to take care of other people, right? But
Sure.
again, think about that illustration of a cup. If there's
Yeah.
nothing in the cup, what can you pour out to other people? It's just like one of the reasons that we go to church, right? Yes, we're doing it to build our relationship with God, but it's also to refill our own spiritual cup so that we have things to give. Taking care of ourselves, making sure we're getting enough sleep, doing things that bring us joy, setting those boundaries, which is really hard to do, refills our own cup so that we actually have things to give. It
Yeah.
is physically impossible to give from nothing.
Mm.
So many of us as women wear that as a badge of honor. It shouldn't be that way. You
Yeah.
deserve to take care of yourself too, especially when you have so many people that rely on you, both within your role and within your family. And that's something that I've struggled with a lot. My self-worth for a lot of my life was really tied to my accomplishments. Rewiring that within my own brain is no, my worth comes from whose I am, not what I do.
Yeah. We as women often think that taking care of ourselves is selfish. And listen, when we're talking about taking care of ourselves, we're not necessarily saying get a pedicure, although sometimes that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
What we're trying to say is your value does not come from how many people you take care of today,
Yeah.
from how many things you check off your to-do list. Your value has to come from the fact that you're a daughter of Christ and he has created you. Yes, with good works to do, like that is scriptural. He's created you. You are his masterpiece and he's created you to do good works. That's true.
Yeah.
But Jesus went off by himself to refresh with the Father. And we feel guilty for doing that.
Yep. Look at the 10 commandments. There is a requirement in the commandments that you're supposed to keep the Sabbath day.
To rest.
Right? Exactly. It's literally written in scripture that God wants us to rest, to follow his example. And again, what's the first thing to go when we get super busy is taking care of ourselves and resting.
Talk a little bit about how teacher burnout affects the children in our care.
Yeah.
We just keep showing up and trying to do it, but it's actually really detrimental to children.
Yeah, it is. So I think first and foremost comes to that first piece of burnout, like we talked about, and that's the emotional regulation.
Yeah.
And so when we are at a state of heightened stress, heightened emotions, we are not able to be as responsive and attuned to the children in our care. So for example, something that may not have set you off before you were stressed could set you off. And often it's the littlest things that when you look back at, you're like, why the heck did I do that? Like little Johnny loves to sing and be happy, but for some reason, little Johnny singing just sent you off. So now you scold little Johnny for doing the thing that makes him so joyous and wonderful to be around.
Yeah.
And you might not have done that previously in a day that you had enough sleep, that you had a good breakfast, that you drank enough water. And that's how it tends to come out first, is in our attunement with those around us, that relationship building. And children sense our stress too. They respond based on the emotions of the room. I think all children are naturally empathetic. They sense the emotions and the energy around them. But then over time, we as people just get rid of that skill. Think about it. If you've ever walked into a room that's really tense, you feel what you're walking into. And kids sense that too. So when they walk into a room that they can feel tense, pressure, stress, they may not know what it's called. They are going to be more reactive than normal. They're going to be less calm. They're going to be less attuned with their own abilities to self-regulate or co-regulate with you. And then it just creates a world of chaos, right? Like you're coming into the room stressed. Kids are feeding off that stress. So then they're stressed and then you're more stressed because they're stressed. And it's literally this vicious cycle.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just this cycle. And I think in those moments, when you really think about it, we're not modeling for children what we want them to learn.
Nope.
Because we don't want them to learn overwhelm and stress as normal.
No.
Because for a lot of us, this is just how it is. And I think we've got to figure out for our own selves, how do we manage this better? How do we de-stress? How do we combat overwhelm? How do we do the things that help us, that fill us up so that we can be at our best for children? Because we really are teaching children these poor habits.
I feel like today's generation of children and even young adults has zero understanding of emotional regulation.
Yeah.
And that is to blame, I think, from the adults that were raising these children.
Oh, totally true.
We didn't learn it or we didn't model it. And so now children are picking up on that. People blame it on COVID. No, COVID just brought to light things that were already happening. It made it a little bit worse, but emotional dysregulation is at an all-time high for adults and children.
Yeah. It seems to me like what we're doing is we're creating this state for these young children that stress and overwhelm just become their normal. And so they never, like when we're starting at a heightened level of emotion all the time, when that's your normal, you hit overwhelm a lot sooner.
Yeah. And you're flooding your body with
cortisol.
cortisol. And that's not healthy either. Like being in a constant state of fight, flight, or freeze, when you are in survival, it's your downstairs brain, your primitive brain that's operating, not your emotional regulation, high level of thinking, creativity, instead of our upstairs brain, our cognitive abilities, our emotional abilities that were given to us for a reason.
Sure.
When we teach kids that that's just the way things are, we're teaching them that you don't deserve to be in a place of regulation, or we're not giving them a space to learn how to regulate.
I think we're stunting their creativity and confidence by doing that.
Oh,
By
I completely agree.
keeping them, because what we're doing is we're teaching them that fight, flight, or freeze should be your normal state. And that's not true. Our normal state should be calm, where we can be in our executive brain, in our there's brain, rather than constantly being in fight, flight, or freeze, where we're always feeling like we have to protect ourselves.
Yeah.
And what we're teaching them when we are so often in our own fight, flight, or freeze is that this is normal. And that's not normal.
Exactly. And it impacts our immune system too. Like a lot of people, I think, just think the emotional repercussions, but it also has physical repercussions.
Wow.
People who live in constant states of overwhelm and stress are more likely to get sick, and not just like sniffles, cold. Like, yes, those are not great, but it actually can highly heighten your likelihood of getting chronic illnesses too, like heart disease. Stress management and emotional regulation on our part and on a part of children around us is not just impacting their emotional health, but also their physical health and their ability to live long, prosperous, healthy, happy lives.
Prime Time is a 4-hour mini conference. Everything done for you. All you have to do is hit play. Here's a little snapshot of what your team could experience too.
We need God's love to fill us up, His good stuff. They would never have had that opportunity if I didn't have the Bible with me and open it up and show them this is the Word of God. But they see it and the kids are like, wow. And I said, see that wow you have? That's what you want other people to see. They want to look at you and go, wow, what's different? God, Jesus, that love changes everything.
Go to www.earlychildhoodchristiannetwork.com to register today.
I think we talked around this a little bit, but give me your top 5 personal habits that we should keep in mind in trying to manage stress and avoid burnout in the first place.
So first and foremost, I'm going to recommend this book to absolutely everyone. It was life-changing for me. It's called Sacred Rest. It was written by Dr. Dalton Smith. It goes over the 7 areas of rest. So a lot of people think rest. They think, oh, I just need to go take a nap. No, there are actually 7 different areas that you should be pouring into yourself on a regular basis, like creativity, social rest. So being around people that pour into you, emotional rest, and yes, physical. But there is an assessment in there that you can actually see how well or how poor you're doing in each of those areas. The physician who wrote it is also a Christian, so she shares a little bit about her faith throughout it. She talks about her own journey as a physician of burnout, overwhelm, stress, health issues. It just really opened my eyes. Like, there is a better way to live. First is learning that there's an issue and figuring out how to solve it. Number 2 is creating non-negotiables for yourself. For me, my non-negotiables are 30 to 45 minutes of quiet time every morning where I'm in prayer, in devotion, in my personal reading that I do. And that is non-negotiable for me because it allows me to pour into me. Some of my other non-negotiables are at least 8 hours of sleep. Once I started protecting my sleep time, my whole life got better. Sleep is a non-negotiable for me anymore. And if it's hard for you to get your 8 hours of sleep, my recommendation is to look at what's going on around you and what can you tweak, alter, get rid of. Number 3 would be it's okay to say no. I think we as women have a really hard time with that. People pleasing comes innate to a lot of us. When you say no to something, you're allowing yourself to have a better yes. Not every yes is a good yes, but you also don't have to justify when you say no to someone. Set your boundaries.
That's really important, that saying no to some things actually allows you to say a better yes. I love that statement.
Yes. I've really struggled with that up until this year of feeling I had to justify my no's. No, I'm allowed to say no.
No is a complete sentence.
Yes,
I
I
love
love
me once and it was like, oh,
yeah, no is a complete sentence. It is. It doesn't have to be no and, no but, no for, like, no, just no.
no, because.
Exactly. Number 4 is get back to the basics. Like, we all know what we need to do to take care of ourselves. Yes, the sleep, the water, the eating right, the setting our own boundaries, not being on our phone 24/7. Like, when I tell you my Sundays, I try to keep my phone on Do Not Disturb on my rest day, on my Sabbath. It's so freeing. And I still catch myself going to try to check my notifications. A couple hours away from my phone impacts my emotional well-being and my state of being. It's crazy. We all know the health habits that we need to have, but we don't do them. Am I at number 4 or number 5? I got so excited that I forgot what number I'm on.
We got quiet time, 8 hours of sleep, say no, back to the basics.
Number 5 is be present where you are.
Great advice.
Yes, I think so many of us, myself included, we're always thinking about what's next. We're on our phone in the midst of a conversation, checking social media, checking email. But if a kid is in front of you, your coworker's in front of you, your spouse is in front of you, whoever is in front of you, they need to be your full focus, especially kids, right? How many of these kiddos in our care are fighting for their parents' attention with a cell phone? It makes me so sad because these kids just want their parents' love, affection, and attention. And parents are just there scrolling. They're missing pivotal moments. And we all do it. Like, I'm not placing blame on anyone. The amount of times that I even catch myself that my husband's wanting to tell me about his day, and here I am scrolling on social media. And then I stop myself. I'm like, wait, Kevin, I'm so sorry. Please say that again. I was not paying attention.
Yep.
And I felt it when he's done that to me or someone else. It almost makes you feel like you're not worth their attention.
Yeah.
So wherever you are, that has literally been an intention almost every day that I write in my quiet time to really be mindful of it is today, I want to be present wherever I am. Whether I'm on a meeting with a client, I'm talking with a friend, I'm in my quiet time in prayer and devotion, I'm with my husband. Like, just be present. Because when we're thinking about 17 different things or constantly on our phone or thinking about what's next, it makes us anxious, or at least it does me.
Yeah, me too.
My mind is constantly going. And so just be present. And I think that will alleviate a lot of these concerns too.
Yeah, I was at our student camp this past summer, and the guy that was doing the teaching sessions, he said to the students before he started every session, he said, be where your feet are. And I thought, what a great phrase to think.
Yeah.
Be where your feet are. If your feet are in this room listening to this sermon, or if your feet are in a classroom with students, or if your feet are in your car with your kids on the way home from school, be where you are and allow your mind to be here. Instead of thinking about the 20 things you need to get done later, or like you said, scrolling on your phone, all those things. To really take a minute and just be present. We know that's how you build a relationship with kids. Like, it's part of how you build a relationship with kids. And it's not just kids.
Yeah. It's everyone. And if I can add a number 6, just like really something that has helped me be more present is at the beginning of every day or even the night before, brain dump my to-do list.
Very good.
I've gotten back to using a physical planner for tracking my to-do list, my habits, and my goals. You can do it virtually too, but there's something that he said about physically writing it down because to me, it releases it out of my brain and it's on paper. If you have 14,000 to-do list items, don't keep them up here. Get them out onto paper, onto your phone, onto a notepad, because then it allows me to be more physically and emotionally present because I'm not thinking, did I forget that I needed to do that? I constantly have some kind of paper journal with me, no matter where I am, because if something pops into my brain, I will literally say, hold on one second. I don't mean to interrupt you. Let me write this down so I can be more present.
Yeah. I think that's great advice because so many of us have this mental to-do list that has 100 things on it.
Yep.
Here's the reality. It takes 5 minutes, y'all. Not going to sit down for an hour and brain dump it. Maybe the first time. I don't know. Probably not, though. The reality is you have 100 things in your brain. And if you would write them down on paper, your brain can forget them. And because it's there for you, writing it down on paper, or if you have a voice memo, just get it out of your head. Yes. Tell me how community, relationships, your own personal relationships, how do they play into well-being?
That's a very loaded question. So one of the things that I've really been intentional about with my clients, within my own life, is finding those relationships and pouring into those relationships that are reciprocal. There are a lot of relationships that as we grow, we mature both in our emotional regulation, our spirituality. Sometimes relationships have to be dissolved or you just grow in opposite directions. But really finding those people that love you, take care of you, that it's a mutually beneficial relationship, and finding intentional time to be with them or to check in on them. We as people are so busy that we forget to take care of other people, and then we feel lonely because they're not taking care of us either. So if a friend's name pops into my brain, I don't care what time of day it is, I will just text them and be like, hey, I was just thinking about you. Not for any other reason, just to let them know. And the amount of times that I've had people do that back to me or just say, wow, thank you. It was really nice to know that someone was thinking of me, or hey, When I was in my prayer time today, you just popped in my head. I don't know what I'm praying for, but just wanted you to know that you're on my heart. That means a lot to people. And then finding that intentional time to be present with them, even if it's on the phone, on Zoom, if you are not physically near each other, maybe it's once a month or once a quarter getting together.
Yeah.
We jam pack our schedule with so many to-do lists, things we feel we need to do. Sometimes just being in community with people without an agenda is refreshing. I recently started a Bible study for women who are leaders in their churches and their organizations or entrepreneurs, and we get together every other week. There's not normally a super full agenda, just some topic and verses that we discuss. No matter what's going on in my life, being in community with those women who pour into me, I pour into them. We're laughing, praying together, having fellowship. It doesn't matter what's going on in the world around me. I leave that space feeling refreshed.
Yeah.
And so find those spaces where you leave more fulfilled, excited. And if a space is constantly draining you or you leave feeling anxious, sad, depressed, that's probably a space to reflect on, like, should you be in that space?
Yeah, I so agree. I think cultivating positive relationships is really hard for women, especially when you start having kids. It's like your only friends are your kids' friends' parents. And it's not bad. Some of my best friends have been my kids' friends' parents.
Yep.
We developed our own relationship. So I would just say be careful. Have your own relationships too, your own friendships that you spend time cultivating.
Yep.
That is just a beautiful way that I think like the body of Christ comes together. So when you need care and love, that body of Christ is there for you. And when they need love and care and a little extra something, then you can be there for them. Creating that reciprocal community is really helpful in combating some of this stress. We haven't even touched on loneliness, but I think that loneliness, like feeling alone in your stress, actually increases your stress. Yes, that when you feel supported in stress and overwhelm, when you feel like, okay, yes, I feel stressed and overwhelmed, but I'm not alone.
Exactly.
There is a gift in how God has built us for community.
Yep.
To carry each other's burdens in that way. If you find yourself feeling lonely, look around at your coworkers. I know a lot of our audience works in churches. Find those people that you connect with and do intentional things to spend more time with them. Go on a walk together after school, which, listen, that's a whole other, go outside, move your body. It's a whole other thing. But it will ease your heart. It'll ease that burden that you feel like you have to carry on your own. When you recognize you don't actually have to carry it on your own, you can release it to the Lord and you can release it to these other people in your life. So I think that's really good. To close this out, if teachers could implement one thing, what would you say? One habit. What should be?
If you could only do one, that's really hard to narrow down.
All right.
But I would say reevaluate your boundaries. And again, we all know what we should be doing or what we need to be doing. But oftentimes we don't uphold our own boundaries. So then other people won't. Boundaries are a way of you saying, this is what's important to me and this is what you need to value. And if you expect other people to value and uphold your boundaries, you have to as well.
So good. Thank you for sharing your heart, your expertise, your experience. You alluded to it a little bit earlier about burnout being bad enough that you had to go to the hospital. I haven't been to that, but I've been to the place where I don't really want to do my job anymore. To be refreshed from that, to be healed from that, like that is a beautiful gift. And I appreciate that you're willing to share your heart and your experience with us, those of us who love what we do, but sometimes that overwhelm, the stress around it can just feel really stifling. So I appreciate you taking time today to share, to encourage.
I appreciate your time. It was a great conversation.
So many of us really do carry this idea with us that stress, overwhelm, ultra busyness is just our lot in life. It's what's expected of us. I want to remind you again, though, you are not what you do or what you accomplish. You are a precious child of the King of Kings. He delights over you on the days that you get everything checked off on your to-do list, and on the days when you only get a couple things checked off, and on the days when nothing goes as planned. What's the one thing you're going to do to combat this journey toward burnout that so many of us seem to be on? Maybe it's getting back to drinking more water, or maybe it's making an intentional phone call to a friend you've been thinking about. Maybe it's spending time in personal worship to God and in His Word. Maybe it's as simple as taking a nap or going to bed 30 minutes earlier. Your well-being impacts how you're showing up for the children in your care. When you are stressed, anxious, and overwhelmed, children start believing that's their baseline. Anxious, stressed, and overwhelmed become the norm. That's not what you want to teach them. I'm going to commit to turning off my phone at 9 p.m. every night. That's my commitment to taking care of myself, to being my best self. We're linking several resources in the show notes for you. A habit tracker to help you stay accountable to some of these minor shifts in your days, the book Sacred Rest that Faith mentioned, and a course on our website called Finding Rest in the Rush, presented by Dr. Melissa Ewing. We are praying for you and cheering for you as you do your best for yourself so that you can be at your best for the children in your care. As always, thanks for joining us. Thanks for spending time with us today on Reimagine Childhood. We hope you walk away with a fresh idea, a little encouragement, and a big reminder that your work with young children truly changes lives. If this episode was helpful, would you take a moment to subscribe? Rate the show in whichever app you listen, and then share this episode with someone who might benefit. Your engagement helps us reach more teachers and caregivers who are shaping the next generation for Jesus. Stay connected with us on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, and our website at earlychildhoodchristiannetwork.com. Until next time, keep nurturing wonder, faith, and joy in the children God has placed in your care.